So in their last Nintendo Direct on April Fool's Day, Nintendo released a new trailer for Fire Emblem 14, known in Japan as Fire Emblem If. The trailer shows a bunch of new information, so I decided once again to go through the trailer as in-depth as possible to give you the best analysis I can. So, let's go. First off, many of my claims from the first analysis are spot on. The avatar is a Lord character and is also the main character. You also do get to choose a side. In the opening scene, there is nothing major to note in the trailer. However, something that is a small detail is that all of the questions are if questions, maybe suggesting that the actual title in English will also be if. She's also in her white outfit here, the dancer from the first trailer, but there will be more on that later. In the next scene, we see a battle between the two factions, now known to be Hoshido and Nor. The princes both have swords imbued with something. Our Norian prince has a sword imbued with a purple aura, and he is against our Hoshido prince, who holds a lightning-imbued sword. Both of these are probably legendary weapons passed down through their bloodlines. It is my hypothesis that this battle specifically takes place early in the game, as it mentions in the trailer that they are at a crossroads, and later in the trailer when discussing choosing a path, they seem to be in the same setting. This would be a logical place for the storyline to split. Something very interesting to consider. In the Japanese Direct, it was announced that this game will be released in 2 different retail versions. That means there's a Fire Emblem Nor edition and Fire Emblem Hoshido version. Now, it is to be assumed that these will lock you into that path. However, if you buy the digital version, apparently if you play up to chapter 6, you then make a decision which is locked into the game. And then once you've completed it, or if of your own accord, you can download the other version or other path as DLC. This is an extremely interesting decision on the part of Intelligent Systems, and honestly the translation is very rough, so my details may be a little off. But this would be a very huge deal if the West also gets this offer. Regardless, moving on to the next scene. We see the Hoshido portrayed as a peace-loving people. They are clearly the Japanese faction based off their architecture and their clothes. We see what I assume to be the leader as she bears a crown and much resemblance to Emrin, who is also a peaceful monarch. This would also place the Hoshido male as a prince in their monarchy. We then see the Nor. Starting right off, we see the king and emperor character from the first trailer, almost confirming he is their leader. The Nor are described as glory-seeking. Now, this would tie very closely to the Romans' ideology as well, which I also mentioned in the first analysis. In fact, this East versus West thinking is portrayed like this very often in Japanese media, with the West being evil and power-hungry, while the East is portrayed as peaceful and respectful. But there's one thing in this scene that is incredibly interesting. The sword of this presumably Hoshida royal looks extremely similar to the prince's. Could this have been the event that sparked the conflict currently occurring? That's what I thought at first, but upon closer inspection I discovered that their swords were actually identical, not similar, identical. In the first trailer we got a much better look at his sword at this same angle, and I discovered they had the same handle, as well as an extremely similar lightning blade that led me to conclude this is the same sword. Now, who could this character be? Now, my assumption is that this is the prince's father, but if he's the prince's father and you're a descendant from their family, could he be the Avatar's father as well? And if he was killed at this point, how did the sword get into the hands of the prince? Could this have actually been the moment where you were taken into custody by Nor? There's a lot we do not know, but this opens up a lot of questions. In this dialogue, the protagonist is just saying what we already know, that he was born in Hoshido and raised in Nor. However, he's telling this to the dancer. That must mean the dancer doesn't know about him or his origins. So this must mean the dancer is unaffiliated, which would further support that she stays with you no matter what side you go on. It is then revealed that you were raised by the Nor, but the Hoshida are your bloodline. Seeing as Nor are seeking glory, their reasons for taking you in might be related to the Fire Emblem, and more sinister than kindness. The Avatar character has clearly been with the Nor long enough to address them as family. On the other hand, the Hoshida appear to immediately want to accept you. They don't appear to have ulterior motives. And Trinan says their story follows the traditional style, so that would mean choosing their route is a good versus bad story. How the Fire Emblem would tie into this, I do not know. We then again see this setting from the first battle scene, this time with them arguing for your loyalty. This once again supports that the earlier battle is earlier in the game where the plot splits. The next two lines of dialogue are saying whether he will go with Nor or with Hoshido. The Nor Prince Max calls you a traitor, and then the Hoshido Prince demands to fight you immediately. Now the interesting part of this trailer, the dancer. The dancer from the first trailer seems to be your companion no matter which path you choose. I believe this is symbolized by the shifting color of the dresses in the dancing scene and throughout the trailer, with white being Hoshido and blue being Nor. Earlier scenes show her in the white dress, so which side does she begin the game on? She also seems extremely key to the Fire Emblem as mentioned in my first analysis, so it makes sense that she stayed with you no matter what path. We then get into some gameplay. Right off the bat, we can see enemies can now pair up. Pair up was quite overpowered in Awakening, so it makes sense that they would find a method to balance it. Whether the enemy can actually merge their units into one, or it only works in side-by-side combat, is yet to be seen. We also see what appears to be a ninja or a thief class attacking the Nor unit, with another unit alongside it. This other unit is holding what looks like a club or a mace, a weapon not seen before in Fire Emblem. Maybe it qualifies as an axe in the game, because this looks like a new class here, but it also looks like it shares similarities to Berserkers from FE13, and it also looks like a sprite earlier seen in Trailer 1. The identity of this class is obviously looking like an original one. Another small thing to note is that the bonus given from pairing up is only +5. Now the default in Awakening was +10 with no supports. I would assume that this is also a no support boost, which would mean pair up has been cut in half for its abilities. Honestly, I believe this is a good change once again to bring pair up down a little. Unfortunately, I could not acquire translations for these text boxes, but what I can infer is that he seems to be using godlike powers or some kind of magic, because stone-faced walls are not mechanical systems used with switches. So maybe your avatar has some powers, or maybe some time reversal he can use to bring things back. Probably the most important scene all trailer, and extremely intriguing, we see the main lord attacking a unit by transforming into a dragon-like creature. This on its own is a rapid departure from tradition. But what is even more interesting is that this is very similar to the same creature from the first dragon that is drowning the dancer. What could this mean for the plot? We even see the dragon dissolve into what looks like the avatar in that trailer. I believe this confirms that your character is extremely closely tied with the Fire Emblem as well as that dancer. Further proof is that on the website the avatar is seen barefoot, suggesting his shape-shifting nature. Usually, only shapeshifters are bare feet. To confirm this, on the Japanese listing of Fire Emblem 14, there's actually a screenshot of the inventory of this avatar, where he has what I assume to be a Dragonstone. The visuals of the next cutscenes shown aren't really that appealing nor have any info, but the voiceover lines do. The Hoshido archer is accusing you of being a traitor, and Max here is saying he should apply his justice correctly as he brings down his sword. These scenes seem to be from later in the game of the other side reacting to your choices. That was all I could squeeze from the trailer, but from outside sources including Amazon and the Fire Emblem Japanese website, there's a lot more information to be had. For example, in the Japanese Direct, as well as on their website, they mention a third DLC route, a third path. This could either be an epilogue path released later, or maybe this is a path that goes alongside that is completely different than the others. We didn't see a lot of the monsters this time around. Maybe they could be the reason a third path occurs. Going back to look at the picture from the Amazon listing, we can see his class is Dark Prince. Now, This is interesting, because in an older Fire Emblem game, there was someone else who had the Dark Prince class, and he was a vessel for a dragon. This fits perfectly with our current protagonist. Another thing to note is that Dragonstones seem to have a weapon level. In Awakening, they had none. They were just flat out stones. You didn't rank up in it at all. And to tie into that, the Dragonstone here appears to have no durability, along with the sword. However, if you look closely at the sword, behind it there is a red box with a little green bar. I think it is safe to assume that this is the durability bar, as in other screenshots we've seen it full. Another thing to notice is that you can now have 6 skills. That's one more than the 5 available in Awakening. And there seems to be one skill specifically surrounded by a bigger circle. Could this be your class-specific skill just highlighted? Or is this your character-specific skill highlighted? Or is it just a better skill? We don't know at the moment. But it's still very interesting that they would up the skills, when in Awakening the skills were already considered pretty broken. Here we get a better look at dual attack in action now that both sides have access to it. Of course, we can see the main unit's attack stats on both the ally and the enemy, but now they have an addition symbol to add on the chances of your paired up unit attacking. Here our allied unit will do 2 damage with a 95% chance of hitting and a 1% crit. And on the other side we have 8 damage, 97% hit, and 0% crit. Now this is very interesting, because looking at our ally, she's doing a lot less damage than that would be in Awakening, where they would do full damage. It almost looks like the damage is halved, or maybe she's just weak. But on the enemy side, it seems they're operating at full strength. Maybe this is at a harder difficulty, or maybe I'm just hypothesizing something that doesn't exist. To finish off this analysis, we're going to look at the box art, because there's one little detail that I noticed about it. Look at the maids. One maid is on one box art, and the other is on the Hoshido one. Now this is peculiar because in the first trailer they were shown together, which would mean they would be under one allegiance. So maybe later on in the game they get split apart by ideology. It's just speculation, but it is possible. And with that, I am done my analysis of the second Fire Emblem trailer. I am super hyped for this game. I cannot wait to see the direction they take it. And I'm so excited. If you notice something that I missed, and it's really important and interesting, be sure to leave it in the comments. And if I get enough comments with interesting facts, I'll definitely make another video including them and crediting them. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.